From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes, brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week, and we are ecstatic you've tuned us in, and the Minnesota Vikings are ready to get back on track when it comes to playing football games after a bye week and 10 days in Europe.
Yes.
And here come the slumping Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at 4-2. First time the Eagles will play the Vikings in a regular season game at the House of Noise. Now, they did play Super Bowl 52 there, and that worked out pretty well for Philly as they knocked off New England. That Eagles fan base, they're going to show up. They travel well. Will they take any seats out of the venue this time?
Well, they tried last
They sure
time.
did.
Yeah, they somehow managed to get them through those rotating doors. Maybe the big pivoting doors. No, they weren't open. That was January or February.
They won't be open this week.
No, they won't be open this week. Now, the big question, of course, and we're going to address this with our guest. Chuck Foreman is going to join us here in a little bit. Is a former Eagle going to be taking snaps for the Vikings? Let's not forget, when the Eagles did win that Super Bowl here, Carson Wentz basically led them most of the way that season, and then he got hurt, and Nick Foles ended up guiding them eventually to the Super Bowl victory. But Carson Wentz has played relatively well. He hasn't been spectacular, but he hasn't been half bad either. I mean, they lost one. They lost the Pittsburgh game. He threw a couple of picks. But other than that, that was his best game yardage-wise, if you look at the statistics. I don't know. I mean, as we record this show, it has not been officially announced who is going to start at quarterback, but I would say stick with Carson Wentz. I mean, he's playing pretty well right now, right? Why force the issue with JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, I think he's been solid, and I think really the blueprint for these young quarterbacks is to sit back, watch, learn, take notes, absorb, and try to develop these guys. I mean, the Green Bay Packers have the ultimate blueprint. Brett Favre is winging, flinging, and zinging, and young Aaron Rodgers had to wait his turn. And Rodgers is out there doing his thing, Hall of Fame type numbers, and Jordan Love, same thing. And that seems to work very well for Green Bay, where they have about what do they have? A new quarterback every 15 to 17 years, but the Vikings and a lot of other teams do it differently. There's two schools of thought. You could, is Carson Wentz your big picture guy? Is he the one that you want JJ McCarthy to, basically get tutored by, Carson Wentz?
Right.
Or when you get to contract 2, that's when the quarterbacks get paid. The Kansas City Chiefs struck gold. Alex Smith was a perfect mentor for Patrick Mahomes for a year. Then Smith goes. Mahomes takes over, and he hits the ground running, right? He's a superstar. They didn't have to pay him for a few years, so they put all the pieces around him, and look where they are now. The Chiefs they're dominant. I know they're off to a bit of a slow start.
Perennial power.
They're in the Super Bowl almost every year. So what do you do if you're Minnesota? And I don't know if J.J. McCarthy's going to be Patrick Mahomes. No. I don't think anybody is.
No, it's an unfair comparison. But your point is the same, though. If they can win somehow with a rookie quarterback, then you have money to spend at other positions, offensive line, running back, defense. I mean, all the positions that you need to go along with a great quarterback. And, they want – here's what I'm thinking. They want J.J. McCarthy. I think they're going to force the issue at some point. They want him to play every day, so that they could do that type of thing for the next couple of years. Because once that rookie contract is over, then he's going to get paid, and they won't have the kind of cap space that they need to pay these other guys.
But remember, he only gets the big payday if he's proven to be a top-notch quarterback. What have we seen? I think the new trend the last 3-4 years is a lot of guys who came out with a lot of cachet, top 10 picks in the draft or first-round choices, and then they flop with their initial team, maybe even a second team.
Sam Darnold,
Daniel Jones, Geno Smith. I don't think he's a superstar, but he's certainly gotten his payday. Took him a while to learn. There's so many examples of guys who just weren't ready, and then they thrive somewhere else. And Carson Wentz may be here. It's a tough decision, in my opinion. I think you're right, though. I think the Vikings are they really want to get it right with JJ McCarthy and move forward with him. But what about the future is now? What about winning now? What's that say to Justin Jefferson?
Exactly.
Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson.
Particularly Jefferson, because, look, he is moving into or already is in the height of his career. These are his top years, the next, 3 years? Would you say that's about right?
Yeah, he's in his prime, basically.
Yeah, this is prime time, to borrow a phrase from a guy that coaches out in Colorado.
He's in Boulder now.
He's in Boulder, and his son is in Cleveland, sitting the bench, by the way. But my point is that I think that they would love to have that situation where he gets better and is able to guide this team deep into the playoffs and to the Super Bowl eventually before that contract is up. Now, whether that's going to happen, that remains to be seen. But you're right. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. I mean, how much tread is left on the tires for Harrison Smith? I mean, you got guys that they want to win now. They don't care about 5 years from now.
I'm going to cut to the chase, too. Whether it's JJ McCarthy or Carson Wentz, the O-line, A, needs to be healthy.
That's true.
B, they need to get in sync because they have had a lot of new faces, a lot of moving parts because of the injuries. If the O-line is banged up or they're underperforming, I don't know if it's going to matter who their quarterback is. This is an interesting stretch for Minnesota. You've got the Eagles. They're going to come in salty. They've lost 2 in a row. They're getting barbecued by their fan base and the media in Philly.
They lost to the Giants, man.
Yes, the whole city's angry. The Philadelphia Phillies are out. So here come the Eagles with the city on their back. And then the Vikings after that game, 4-day week on the road. They go to Inglewood to play the Los Angeles Chargers, and that's going to be a very difficult road game.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, they got their hands full Sunday at the House of Noise. Let's see if they can turn it because, look, the Bears come into the weekend 3-2. They're tied with the Vikings. Now the Lions have lost a couple, and the Packers have the 1 loss and the tie. So, and by the way, who did the Packers lose to? Oh, that's right. The only team that
Cleveland,
yeah, their own.
That's
Cleveland's
your win,
only,
right?
That's their only.
That was
win.
your apex of the season.
Probably
it came very early.
Well, they got a new stadium coming.
New stadium, new quarterback.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
He's in the other part of Ohio.
Yes, he
Cincinnati.
is. All right, we are, as I promised, going to talk to Chuck Foreman coming up next.
All right, we are 10K takes your purple ticket.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them?
That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
10,000 takes rolling along, and we are talking purple. And as I mentioned before, who better to talk Minnesota Vikings purple than our friend Chuck Foreman? Is in the Ring of Honor, should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, will be someday. So, Chuck, Vikings have this issue, if you want to call it that, decision. I think that's more like it. Do you continue with Carson Wentz? Or do you bring JJ McCarthy back because he didn't lose his job just because he got hurt? What is your thinking / theory on this? And mind you, we understand that this may change throughout the week by the time of kickoff on Sunday. But what is your thought?
My thoughts are Carson Wentz should stay where he is. I just don't think JJ McCarthy, missing all of last year. Of course, he went to training camp. I mean, he had camp this summer. I don't think he's ready, and there's no need for him to come right away, in my opinion. They got offensive line issues. Carson Wentz, as you seen him under pressure, but the only thing that got him out of the jams is because of his experience. Like I say, I don't know what their thought. My whole thought process is, I don't think any of these young quarterbacks that come in, especially you know, in this league, are ready. Maybe one every. Even Patrick Mahomes had to sit, and Lamar Jackson, but yeah, I don't think he's ready.
Chuck, when you look at the offseason for the Minnesota Vikings, they clearly were talking to Aaron Rodgers. At one point, they had Daniel Jones on the roster and Sam Darnold. And they didn't make a move on any of those guys. Looking back, should they have kept one of them?
I certainly thought they should have kept Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
Like we keep saying about these quarterbacks, we keep talking about offensive linemen who need time to get ready and gel. They got to be healthy. If you got that offensive line in place, everything works well. We talk about the offensive line, then we jump to quarterback, and we see how quarterbacks, especially when they're thrown in there real too soon, what happens to them? They get to a crappy team, and then they get labeled. He's not that good. Look at Baker Mayfield. Yeah, they said the same thing that he was in Cleveland. Then he went out to L.A. They still weren't convinced. Then he goes to Tampa Bay, and he plays the kind of football that we've seen him play when he was in college. He's a game breaker. And so all these guys, Daniel Jones, you see Sam Darnold, we had him here, but we took that gamble and gambled on JJ, who's not proven. I didn't think he proved himself in college. I'm thinking he's got ability, no question about it. But at Michigan, he had that dominant run game. He wasn't called on to do a whole lot of stuff as far as the passing game goes. I'm not saying, like I said, I think he's got ability, but nurture it and bring it along slowly so he can be the quarterback of the future. And, the next thing you know, he comes in, he doesn't do well, and everybody's going to say he's a bust. And then we'll trade him, and then we'll go back and just get retreads again.
Oh, boy.
The revolving door.
I'm going to throw another name into that mix of guys that it has taken time, and I think he's just starting to turn the corner this season in his third year for the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams. He looked pretty good again this past Monday night, right? Am I missing something there?
No, he had a good game Sunday night, no question about that. The jury's still out on him. He's coming along, but like he had that good game the other night, but before that, what were they saying? Well, I don't know. He wasn't worthy of the top draft choice. Okay, but when you put people around, what happened to him? He had a run game, a strong run game.
For sure.
Receivers are back. They were making big plays. The defense was playing well. And so you got all the ingredients to have a successful game. This whole thing is just like, in my opinion, it's like when you're making a nice stew. You better have all the ingredients right if you want that taste. So, they're coming along. I think Chicago is. The only thing is, if they come along, where's that leave the Vikings?
Yeah, I completely agree. They're tied right now.
Good point.
We got Green Bay, we got Chicago, we got Detroit. All three of those teams are playoff caliber teams.
And the most glaring example right now in 2025 is a guy I know you love. He's a Miami Hurricane, Cam Ward. Tennessee's already gotten rid of their head coach, Brian Callahan. That's been a train wreck out of the gate. He needs to develop, to your point. But I want to ask you about Saquon Barkley and the slumping Super Bowl champion Eagles who come to Minneapolis Sunday. Is there any earthly explanation for why he's not getting a lot of touches with Philadelphia? The guy had a historic season last year.
Yeah,
I think he was the MVP.
They had a historic season, no question. He was MVP. But, look at Kansas City, their start this year. And then they start getting their players back that were injured. Philadelphia, they have a few players out. as far as Saquon Barkley goes, he's the same talent. There's no question. I still love that offensive line they have. It's just, I don't know. You know, they've been together for a minute, but I'm just saying other teams are getting better too. So, you know, this is the NFL. You just never know.
You just said that all 4 teams in the division are playoff caliber, and
Right.
I don't disagree with you. Are the Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl caliber, or are they missing some ingredients here, do you think?
I'm thinking I guess anything's possible. Don't misunderstand me. No question about it. You know, Carson Wentz might be on his way to being the quarterback everybody thought he would be. He showed it 1 year or 2 years, and he's been dormant somewhat the last few years. But the offensive line is the key. Of course, you know, with the defense, I'm sure, you know, after, you know, Brian gets done with them after their last couple of appearances, you know, and they have the time to regroup and to check out the film and maybe come up with some different things. I think they got the talent defensively. I think if the offensive line can come back healthy with Carson Wentz at the helm, you know, anything's possible.
Chuck, as you know, going back to the days of Pete Rozelle, who was commissioner of the NFL when you played, the NFL's always wanted parity. I feel like this year there's more parity than I've ever seen or can remember. Now, it's been around, but do you agree? Because Buffalo's lost 2 in a row. The Eagles have lost 2 straight. I mean, we had an undefeated team for all of about 5 weeks, and then it was over.
And that's the way it's going to be. I think the parity in the league is where they want it to be. I think it's no fun to see just one or 2 or 3 dominant teams, you know, when the game comes on, no matter what, they're going to win. But so now we're in the 5th, 6th week going in, and now, you know, the teams that we thought were going to be the front runners aren't. The teams that we had no clue that would be are. And so now getting into this part of the season, where we're going to have about 10, 11 games to go, this is when we're going to see who rises to the occasion.
Are there, to that end, are there too many games? Is 17 too much? Is 18 going to be even worse, or is it going to be better? Because, boy, the injuries are piling up in the National Football League, Chuck, and the number of games is going to be a factor.
Well, it's all about that almighty dollar and the TV contracts. That's why you got the 3 extra games. You know, 14. Now I played. Now they got 17. You know, so yeah, it takes a toll on your body, no question about it. That's why you got to have to have a deep roster. And when I say you have to have 2 number ones at each position, and I mean that, including there should not be that big of a fall off if one of them gets hurt and the other one has to step in. But as we see, it's a lot of the teams, the number ones go out, and the number twos aren't playing up to their ability, or they can't play. Simple as that.
And to Wally's point, Chuck, I mean, when you're talking about perfect teams, I think you were a senior at Miami when the Dolphins went 17-0, and you were right there, and were, you know, basically living it as you saw the Dolphins have the only perfect season, 17-0. If you go perfect now, you've got to go 20-0. I think it'll never happen again. Do you agree?
I agree. That probably will never happen again. I mean, 14 games with the Dolphins, you know, that was a special team, though, with a whole bunch of special players, and I got to see them every week. Of course, they used to practice at our facility here and there, too. So, but, yeah, that may not ever happen again because there's so many games, and, you know, it might, but I don't see it happening. Yeah.
All right, Chuck. Well, we'll see if the Vikings can get to number 4 this week, and we'll talk to you again very soon, I'm sure.
Well, I hope so. I think they don't make any changes. I think they'll be okay. And if that offensive line comes back, like I say, they got a chance. That's no question.
All right.
Thanks, Chuck.
He is Chuck Foreman, the former Minnesota Vikings great, is in the Ring of Honor, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Put him in.
Put him in. Back with more here on 10,000 Takes after this. Stay with us.
clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Life moves pretty fast, but not at Freddy's. When that first bite hits, you can't help but slow down. The secret to quality time is just quality and time. That's Freddy's.
Mom, what's wrong with them?
That's called quality time. Don't stare.
Stop by any one of Freddy's 6 Minnesota locations.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
We are Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes. And have you been watching? I know you've been watching the Championship Series, American League, National League. There have been some former Minnesota Twins, some Minnesota connections, but none more prominent than what our guy Jorge Polanco has been doing for the Seattle Mariners. First of all, he got maybe what was the biggest hit in Mariners history, a walk-off, to get them into the ALCS for the first time since 2001 against the Yankees, I believe. That 15-inning job where he got the walk-off hit. He's hit the long ball this year. He's got 26 regular season home runs. He's played a solid second base. He's batting fourth on a team in the ALCS. That's all you need to know.
A team with Cal Raleigh, a team with Randy Arozarena, a team with
Josh Naylor.
Suarez, Josh Naylor. So, yes, what he's doing, and that really was an incredible Seattle sports snapshot, that walk-off in the 15th inning against Detroit. At the time of this recording, 3 postseason home runs, 2 off Tarek Skubal, the other off Louis Varland. You talk about all these ex-Twins.
Yes.
He's in Toronto now. Look, I know the Twins alibi team is in, they're trying to spin this, put that Twin spin on it. There's no spin here, folks. It was a 5-player deal and cash. Of course, the Twins got the cash. And, there's only one of those 4 guys that Minnesota got from Seattle who even made a minor contribution this season. So I hate to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up. Jorge Polanco might be David Ortiz, and guess what? It's Ortiz doing these pregame and postgame shows. Don't think he won't bring it up.
And don't think that David Ortiz doesn't flash those World Series rings. Not ring, but rings that he won as a member of the Boston Red Sox. So the Twins give up on Jorge. They trade him to Seattle. He didn't have a great year in 2024, but he was pretty good for them this year, probably over all the injuries, getting used to where he's at, all that stuff. And and the Twins just sit idly by with Topa and then a bunch of stiffs.
Anthony DeSclafani, where is he? He's on a milk carton, I think.
Is he a major leaguer
These guys
still?
are missing in action.
Boy.
You cannot look at that deal and say it's lopsided for Seattle. I mean, if the Mariners get to the World Series for the first time in franchise history, a big reason will be because of Jorge Polanco.
Well, and let's not forget that when the Twins last had him, they stuck him over at third base. And if you remember, that's playing Jorge out of position. Jorge started out as a shortstop. The Twins moved him to second. I think that's by far his best position, and has played second base the majority of his career. And that's where Seattle uses him. And I think that he's in a great spot with Seattle. Good for Jorge. I always liked Jorge.
He's a solid baseball player. Yep. You need guys like that on your roster.
Good locker room guy.
Dependable, and durable. And,
he'd be terrible in the Twins lineup. Let's not have any of that.
Him. And, hey, if the Twins are looking for a manager. Why don't they go poach Dan Wilson from Seattle?
There you
He's
go.
an ex-Gopher.
That's right. By the way, Jorge was in the Twin system 13 years. It's not like he played here 3 or 4 years. We're not going back to Kirk Cousins was here for 4 or 5 years, whatever it was. Or
when they gave
13 years.
Yeah, I was in Fort Myers a few years ago at spring training, and they had a big announcement that they were giving long-term extensions to Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco, and they thought they were getting them for a bargain because they were young and they would, develop and get better. And it really was, I think, a team-friendly deal, and the players were happy too because they took a chance on these guys. But you're right, Polanco was a Minnesota Twin for a long time.
And no boss. Now he's doing it for the Mariners. Good for him. All right. When we come back, buckle up. Takes of the day on deck. This is 10,000 Takes.
Let your adventure begin in Lakeville, Minnesota. We have over 90 places to grab a bite to eat, and we're close to the Mall of America, Valley Fair, and the Minnesota Zoo, plus hotel packages and great rates. Visit Lakeville. We're serious about fun all year round.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
"10K Takes" on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in the Twin Ports, the Twin Cities, and Med City, Rochester, our newest affiliate.
Okay.
Let them know what your mood is. Angry American, sarcastic Sam, cranky Yankee. What are you this week?
Well, we're about to the midway point of the regular season in college football, and your Golden Gophers with Nebraska this week. Last week, of course, they played Purdue. They moved to 4-2 on the season, 2-1 in the Big Ten. And you say, wait a minute. That only puts them one game behind Ohio State and Indiana, the two 3-0 teams heading into this weekend. Well, them and 7 other teams in the Big Ten, which is now the Big 18, are 2-1. So don't get too excited too fast. But I did notice in the ESPN poll that the Big 10, Big 18, whatever you want to call them, very dominant. Ohio State number 1, Oregon number 2, Indiana number 3. And why that is, I have no idea. Indiana just went to Eugene and beat Oregon in Oregon. So go figure on that. USC, Penn State, Nebraska. Yes, Penn State, the 3-3 Nittany Lions. Washington, Michigan, and Iowa, all in the top 25. The good news, your Gophers are above Wisconsin. The bad news, your Gophers are ranked 57th in the nation. That's not going to get them into the 12-team playoff or 16-team playoff or whatever they expand it to. The only bit of good news, the only shred of news I can give you that's really good is that they're way above Bucky Badger. Wisconsin is currently ranked 72nd in the nation. So hang your hat on that, Gopher fans.
All right, well, let's check the mood meter out.
Yes.
And he's a sarcastic Sam as he
quite a bit
throws shade on the folks in Madison. Boy, it's been a free fall for Wisconsin.
Yes, it has.
All right, well, I'll talk college football too because last week my son Preston had a recruiting visit to North Dakota State. So I got to see the Bison juggernaut up close and personal. And it is a juggernaut.
Okay.
This program in Fargo's won 18 national titles. I saw a game against Southern Illinois, who at the time was ranked 6th.
The Salukis?
The Salukis. Gail Sayers' old school. Okay. And North Dakota State, top-ranked team in the nation. It was close for, until late in the second quarter, and then North Dakota State erupted and won going away. And the culture there is all about winning. It's not about, I hope we do well. I think we'll do well. This is about national championships. North Dakota State is one of the most incredible powerhouses in the history of college football at any level. And, by the way, they usually play the FCS title game in Frisco, Texas, down there in the Metroplex at the Dallas FC soccer team's venue. This year it's in Nashville.
Uh-oh.
at Vanderbilt Stadium. So you'll see a lot of Bison stampeding down to Music City. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and I predict the Gophers won't put them on the schedule anytime soon.
No, they don't want any part of the Bison. All right, we got to go. Well, let's FedEx out those thank yous. David Weld, Paul Langfellow, Chuck Foreman. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports tick.